Hi Aries, this is Lee at Fresh Astrology. We are looking at December 2017. We are mostly looking at the movement of Saturn that is making a big transit this month. It's moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn. This is a big deal. And so I've been talking about it a lot, but that's because it's good to kind of hammer home what this means. Also, to get an idea how you want to wrap up the previous Saturn transit. And it's also good to kind of honor where you've been, especially at the end of the year. Let's honor at the end of the year and at the end of this major Saturn transit in Sagittarius, which has been in your ninth house, what this has been like for you. What has this 2.5 to 3 year transit meant for you? And where are you going? Where are you going now? What's the new era that we're looking at this next 2.5-ish years? What are we looking at? What does Saturn mean for you? What does it imply? Also, at the same time that Saturn is doing this big transit, we have Mercury in retrograde in the same area of the chart. At the same time we have that, we have Venus and the Sun in here mixed in. And what does that mean? So right now, I'm going to deal with the kind of the overview of what the Saturn transit means and the overview of Mercury in retrograde. On my website, I will have a deeper view into the meanings of this to maybe pull out Venus a little bit more. Venus has more to do with your love relationships, your relationships in general, people who are ruled by Venus, also money. So that I will handle as a separate download that you can get on my website. And here, the overview is that Saturn has been in your ninth house in Sagittarius. This is such an education-oriented area of the chart. So either you've been in a higher educational arena yourself or thinking about it, planning for it, or perhaps older children. You've been dealing with older children who've been in university or going to preparing them, or they've been there for 2.5 years. But this phase of your life, if you have children, could have a lot to do with the experience of having your children be college aged. So, and maybe not fully invested in college. Maybe there's some backstory where things didn't go so well, or there's some concern. That can definitely come under the influence of Saturn. Saturn can feel heavy, and sometimes it's a heavy financial burden. Sometimes there are extraneous factors that complicate the picture of a completely smooth educational experience for your children. This is also a time, if you don't have children, where travel has been an issue for some reason. Maybe some people with Saturn want to work harder at making sure they travel. So travel could have been kind of a commitment, like I need to structure my life, Saturn's structure, and learn how to include more travel for me and my family, or just me. And I want to learn about the world. I want to go see things I haven't seen before and learn about things I don't know about culturally or geographically. This too could have been kind of a theme for you over the past 2+ years, where you've really committed to maybe going new places or just learning something about travel. And travel could have become a bigger theme. It may even play into something to do with your career, because now Saturn's about to make this transit over your midheaven into your 10th house. So honor the past 2.5 years. What have you been learning in this ninth house area? Have you learned something about the law? Have you learned about publishing? Have you actually published your first blog piece? Are you developing something that you're writing? What has been hard for you in this area of learning about others, the area of higher education? What's been hard for you? What's really stretched you to grow and learn as a person, something you didn't know about before? Is there a second long-term relationship that's become more long-term or become difficult and challenging? What have you had to learn in this last 2.5 years? It's great to just honor that. See how far you've come. See how much you achieved in this area. Or did you have to market something? Are you in sales? Did you have to market yourself 2.5 to 3 years ago? Did you have to really sell yourself? And then now where are you? Can you see how far you've come? Now, based on this last 2.5 years, you're going into this new career area that, when Saturn goes across something like the midheaven, it's a very important part of the chart. This will impact your career and your outer world and how people see you for the next 30 years. So I think for those of you where it's felt very challenging and you're in the public eye in a way that feels negative, Saturn says you need to own up, own your stuff, own what you've done. Really dig down deep for the lesson and authentically express to others the lessons you've learned and that you're taking ownership of something. If you're in the public eye, and public can be like a public of 10 people or 5 people or a public of millions. It just depends on you and your life. But where can you take ownership? And that's not going to be for all of you. Some of you are in the public eye in a very good way. But for those who feel it's uncomfortable, it's about taking ownership, owning up to your own stuff, not blaming others. Own your stuff. What's been hard? Is it been hard to be in the public eye in some way? And again, that's not everybody. So the Mercury retrograde is saying, as you honor, is saying go ahead and honor. It's a great time to kind of review the past and how far you've come. Review your actions, review what you've learned. That's Mercury retrograde, kind of working with the Saturn. And it's going back into the 9th house, or just backward in the 9th house. And use the month to kind of slow down and contemplate where you've been, where you are now, what you're poised to do. So it's a great time for reflection, understanding what you have learned, reviewing the lesson. Or if you never did really fully get the lesson, Mercury is going to help you go back and really take a look at what you've been doing, both to honor yourself and maybe take ownership of something that didn't go so well. But maybe things have gone well because you've really been working with that Saturn placement. You've really been working with what's there, and it's gone better than expected because you really worked with that Saturn to stretch and grow and accept what that 9th house area is bringing to you. So it'll be very individual for each one of you. So if you want more on the love and the money piece, you can go to www.freshastrology.com and go to the store and look for December for your sign. And have a great month. And if you want your New Year's forecast, that too is on my website. And I will see you in the new year.